Christmas, I was working a double shift in the ER. My parents and sister told my 16-year-old daughter there was no room for her at the table. She had to drive home alone and spend Christmas in an empty house. I didn't make a scene. I took action instead. The next morning, my parents found a letter at their door and started screaming. I got home Christmas Eve just before midnight, smelling like antiseptic and adrenaline. I'd just done CPR on a man who said he was tired, but he was turning blue. One of those nights. First thing I see, my daughter Abby's boots by the door. I thought she got hurt. Then I saw her coat tossed on the armrest, her overnight bag still zipped, and her curled up on the couch like she didn't trust the furniture. She wasn't supposed to be home. She was supposed to be at my parents'. Overnight Christmas tradition. Her first year driving herself. She was so excited. Left early, packed gifts, did everything right. Abby, I said. She opened her eyes like she hadn't even been sleeping. Shrugged. They said there wasn't room. Room? At the table? She nodded. Blinked hard. Said they didn't expect me. Too many people already. Grandma didn't want to drag out another chair. Said there wasn't a bed left either. Nobody offered her food. Nobody offered to drive her home. Lily, my niece, was in her seat. Grandpa was laughing with her like she was the guest of honor. Abby, invisible. I made toast, she added, pointing to a cold piece on a paper towel with half a banana. That was her Christmas dinner. She tried to downplay it, but I saw it. The way she bit her lip, trying not to fall apart. They made me feel like showing up was rude, she whispered. She'd even baked cookies for the cousins. Brought a sweater she picked because my mom once said she liked it. And they told her, with 28 people in the house, that there wasn't space for her. And the wild part? She didn't cry big. She just sat there, blinking like she'd short-circuited. That hurt worse than any screaming. I didn't blow up. I just held her and let her fall asleep in her too perfect sweater. Then I sat in the kitchen staring at her bag, zipped, untouched, like she'd never been invited anywhere at all. And that's when something snapped. See, my parents never liked me much either. I was the weird science kid, the one who wanted a microscope instead of dolls. My sister Janelle, golden child, average grades, big attitude, knew how to make people laugh. She used to call me Dr. Freak. When I actually became a doctor, she started calling me Dr. Moneybags. I paid their bills, bought their house, covered medical stuff. They called when the lights got shut off, when the car broke, when someone needed just a little help. I gave and gave. But Abby, she's never asked for a thing. Never even had a fancy summer camp. Unlike Lily, who got accepted to some STEM program, and Janelle expected me to foot the $1,200 bill. I told her no. That's when the attitude started. Suddenly, I was jealous, ungrateful, holding her daughter back. And my mom agreed. Of course she did. 3 weeks later, Abby was turned away from the Christmas table like a stranger. Like the girl who brought cookies was the problem. And I realized this wasn't a mistake. It was a message. So the next morning, I left them a letter. Didn't hear anything until 7 a.m. My mom opened the envelope, read it, and screamed. Full-on banshee mode. Called for my dad like the house was on fire. She's throwing us out. They called me nonstop. 32 missed calls. 14 texts. Janelle even messaged, "You're ruining your reputation." Then came the front porch visit. My mom in her fuzzy robe, holding the crumpled letter like it was toilet paper. "After everything we've done for you," I said. "You mean the house I bought? The bills I paid?" She said they just ran out of chairs. I said there were 28 people there, even a neighbor. "But not your granddaughter?" She ripped the letter in half, smiled, told me to pay for Lily's camp and drop this tantrum, like that was gonna work. So I met with a lawyer. The house is in my name, always was. Formal eviction went out. 60 days. Utilities? Cut. Medical help? Gone. They thought I'd cave. I didn't. Janelle tried playing hero. Took them in. 3 weeks later, she was at my door. Hair a mess. I can't do it. They fight constantly. They won't share a bathroom. It's hell she wanted help with a rental deposit. I said, "You watched Abby get turned away on Christmas. That was your choice. This is mine." A week later, she kicked them out too. They ended up in a dumpy rental with one heater and no room to blame anyone but themselves. They cried to the family, but I'd already sent receipts, literal ones. Mortgage statements, medical invoices, a copy of the eviction notice. One cousin texted me, "Wow." Another sent a thumbs up emoji. Fast forward 2 years. Abby's thriving, studying what she loves. Tuition, covered by the house sale. Peace, paid in full. They still call sometimes, still blame me, but I don't answer. And I don't regret a single thing. They said there was no room for my daughter at the table. Now there's no room for them in our lives. Let me know in the comments. Was that too